just like to do a bit of a review on our Windsor Genesis 17.6. We purchased this van in 2020 and received it in about February 2021. So it was in the middle of COVID, so obviously it took a while to build. But I'd just like to tell you the love-hate relationship I've had with this caravan. Look, don't get me wrong, it's a great van, and it's got lots of extras on it that you probably wouldn't normally get with a van of this size. I think we paid $54,000 when we purchased. Now they've gone actually up in value. Now they're around about 64. But it's been a great caravan. It tows really well. So we tow it with a Pajero Sport, and that does no hassles at all. So we mainly bought this caravan to tow it from Western Australia to the East Coast to see our grandkids over there. And we don't carry a lot of stuff in it. We don't carry really heavy stuff. So it's got I think the van tows really well just with a medium load. We basically got just clothes, you know, the usual stuff. We've got a generator in the front here. One of the issues was when we purchased this van, you'll see that in the brochure with these Genesis 17.6s, they got like a standard box across the front that you can put a couple of gas bottles and a generator in one side. They couldn't supply that. We waited 6 months for that. They still couldn't supply it. So I've got this generator box here that I've made up all my own brackets and put on the side. I've put smaller gas bottles on it because it had the larger ones on it. So I've got small ones and a small little box on the front here as well. I've had Alco electronic stability control fitted to it. For stability, but really the way it tows, it tows beautifully. I have got the uplift bars attachment to the car. Whether or not I really need that, but it seems to be in braking that just seems to give it a bit more stability. Well, some of the issues, I'll go through some of the issues of the hate type stuff that I've had with this caravan. I'll take you inside. I'll just switch it over here. Okay, here we are inside. Now, a few of the issues that we've had, for starters, on the inside of the van is that, so just remember that we've never had this van on dirt roads at all. It's always been in just on bitumen roads, sealed roads all the time. Okay, so within about the first trip we had, when we drained the sink, what was happening is that all the dishwasher would start coming out the drain of the shower here. So I said, what is going on there? So this is our first trip that we had. Now the problem why that was happening was that the outlet here was miles too small. So what I've had to do, I've had to put twin pipes with two different outlets and bring pipes down like here and then across to your drain, which is a bit like a Jayco system. And because I've got two different outlets, the shower separate to the sink, it drains out okay. Because what was happening was trying to go out one outlet was miles too small, backing up and going through the shower, which was a pain. So I had to do all that myself. It was, as we live in 400 kilometres away from Perth, we didn't really have anywhere to take it to warranty at that stage. We have got a caravan repair place in town now that does Windsor, which is handy. Now the other issue that we had is real bits of pains actually. This drain pipe here for the gas hot water, electric gas hot water, I fitted this pipe myself, because what was happening, the original overflow pipe was melting on the gas burner inside there, and the water was dripping then inside the unit and dripping out along inside the seam of the caravan here. So I've put this on, taken it outside the outside. Just another small little thing. It's a bit of a pain. Another issue is that the battery in here, as you'll see, I've got red straps tying the battery down, so you can just pull this battery out to service the battery. Well, what Windsor does is a brilliant idea. They put this box in and it's screwed to the floor, so you can't get the battery out. So the only way I could get the battery out was to cut the whole side of the thing up, pull the battery out, and then I had to buy a new holder for the battery with a metal piece where that battery box fits onto, because otherwise you couldn't service the battery. It's a ridiculous idea. So they put the battery in before they put the cabinetry on the top, so you can't even get your battery out, so which I find is absolutely such shoddy workmanship. One of the other issues we had on our second trip, we had all the lights. We had no power to anything, and that was one of them. Ended up being, I checked that myself. Luckily I had a multimeter with me, because I am a motor mechanic by trade. The main wire that goes to the battery was just crimped, such a terrible crimping job that the wire just fell out and gave us no power to any of the electrics. Yeah, so back in the caravan here, as you'll see here, this is our panel. That's our water indicator. So what I was finding that when we went on our first, probably we had a bit of a shakedown trip, because I do realise that, look, when you buy a new caravan there's going to be things that are going to go wrong, there's no doubt about it, and this is definitely no exception, this van. So this is just sort of basically to let you know the trouble we had with this van is the two tanks down the bottom where the outlets come off. They drill a small, little tiny hole where the outlets screw into, and that hole could be about at least twice the size. So what was happening, the pump would start cavitating because it couldn't get the water out quick enough through these tiny little holes that they put in the tank. So what I was finding, it started cavitating at about half the tank level. So I think what's going on, we're only getting about 60 litres, 100 litres, there are 160 litres, that's in both tanks, across both tanks that is. And we're only getting half of the water, so by a lot of mucking around myself and looking at the pump, and I found out that these holes were drilled offside where the bung goes into, which was just ridiculous, you know. So I had to drill the hole, probably 20 mil holes in there, put the bungs back in, you get the flow of water through. So that was one issue. Then what I've actually done, I've listed how much water, that's the top, you know, according to the lights, of how much water I've got left in the tank, and that all seems to work all right. This electrical system works on, the solar panels work great, they're all standard with the system. The washer machine is also standard in here. So there's a lot of good standard type of things that this caravan comes with. I'll just tell you about the drawers now. Okay, the drawers have been an issue. Now, this is on our second trip. What I found, that these drawers, basically all the fronts of the drawers, doesn't matter which drawer every single drawer, all these ones, all the screws fell out of them. Fronts came all loose, the screws on the ground, everything was just shaking loose. So what I've had to do, I've Sikaflexed all the drawers, every drawer back on. Just Sikaflex them, put different screws in with Loctite, and that fixed the problem of all the drawers fronts falling up. The alignment was also terrible. I had to put spacers in here to try to get the doors to align, otherwise the cupboard door would just fly open. Because the lock was that far away, it wouldn't lock into here. This is just, it's basically shoddy workmanship. A lot of stuff like this we had to do. Another thing was that the bathroom sliding door, the bathroom slides here. I'll just click that off. Slides on some little rolls up in here. Well, the screws are left loose on the roller adjustment, so the door fell off while we were travelling. Luckily, it didn't do any damage. Just stuff like that, so I had to Loctite them back on. This top shroud here just goes and screws into a fiberglass roof, which just fell off due to the screws being too small. So I put larger screws in and Loctite. Everything has to be Loctite. Nothing's Loctited. So what I found, everything that they screw into this fiberglass, you must put Loctite on, otherwise it just comes loose. Apart from that, everything in the bathroom, the shower and everything seems to work really well. After we got the drain fixed, that is. Then on one of our trips over east, we came in and all the contents of the drawer in here was all on the ground, so the drawer fell completely out. Now what happens is there's no way you can get around, as far as I can tell. If anyone knows, they can put a comment on the bottom. But these locks have a little plastic set up like this. Well, even if you're just on bitumen roads, because it's the top drawers, and obviously you're getting shaking of the caravan like that, these little locks are not strong enough. They just snap clean off, and I've replaced 3 of these on the top drawer, so 3 times it's broken. They replaced them under warranty, which is good, but you know, I had to replace them myself, but luckily it did a little bit of damage on the front panel when it went down. So because they keep breaking, what I've had to do, I've put this bolt in through here that you screw in, and then I've drilled a hole through here with a rubber grommet. So when we go travelling, I just screw this up tight. That stops the drawer from falling out. So that was, I thought, great, that's fixed that one. Anyway, the next trip he went, the second drawer went. Now there's not a lot of stuff in these drawers, so it's all properly filled. It's not as though it's flying around. The same thing happened with this one, and I've done the same thing with that. I've had to put another bolt in here. Now what I found, that doing the 2 top drawers, it's okay. So obviously the bottoms aren't moving as much, so the locks aren't breaking, and same locks are through the whole van, but nothing else breaks because it's not going side to side. So it's the 2 top drawers, which is amazing. But it's basically the locks are just really cheap rubbish, nasty stuff. Another thing we had go wrong was the microwave. Nearly fell out due to the screws in the back of the microwave. They weren't even screwed into the bottom here to locate the microwave properly. So the first trip we went up to Broome, the microwave just damaged all the top. So they sent me a new microwave under warranty, which I got to admit, we bought this from the dealer brand new in Perth. So they have been good as far as sending all the gear up to us that I fitted myself. So that was not too bad. Yeah, so the drawers, you know, they're if you do those small modifications, are okay. I'm sure there's other vans with these locks. I'd like to know if anybody else has had the problem with those plastic locks. Obviously, you can't really put a different type of lock on because the cabinetry is all designed to fit that type of lock. So I tried to have a look at some other type of lock I could put in there, but of course it just leaves a hole in the cabinetry. You have to change basically the whole thing, the whole setup. Air conditioning and everything has been a really good unit. That's nothing wrong with that. Our last trip, which was just down to Augusta in WA, our Dometic fridge here, packed it in. It was probably a year and a half old, 2 years old, maybe about 2 years old. Actually just over 2 years old, of course, and just started losing, just wasn't cold. So anyway, I took it in for repairs. Luckily, they do have a 3-year warranty on these fridges, which was good. So the actual, it's a absorption fridge. It's not a compressor fridge, it's an absorption fridge. Works really well when it's working, and it had been a great fridge for quite a while. All that time I think we did the Eastern States twice. Worked the whole way there, the whole way back. Anyway, it sprung a gas leak in the pipe in the back. It was obviously the pipe in the straight part of the pipe. It must have been too thin or something. They had to replace the whole back unit. That took about a 3 months repair. So that's, you know, so you got downtime. Luckily we had a spare fridge with us, an Ingle that we used on that particular trip when it packed it in. So it was about a 3 months repair. They did tell me in there that they've done warranty jobs on the same type of fridge with the same problem. So that's another one down there. They showed me the actual unit. So all the yellow gas is like, it's not like gas, it's actually a liquid fluid. It's a liquid that goes through the tubes, and that had leaked out, yellow all over the place. But now it's running good now. We're going another trip to the Eastern States. Getting ready now. So I've had it on for about a week, just to make sure that everything's off. You can see that I've got my temperature gauges and everything, just checking, making sure that everything's going to function okay. So really my love-hate sort of relationship with this caravan has been that every time we go away there's always something, but it seems to be getting less. The last thing was mainly the fridge, which packed it in, which, you know, it did peeve me off, I've got to admit. You know, like I said, oh mate, this caravan, I know it's getting me. But we love the layout of the van. I love the way it tows. It tows so good. It's a beautiful, quiet van inside. It's well insulated. The floor is made of the same material that the walls and ceiling, everything is. So it's a great van as far as that goes. Most of the features, everything works really well except for those. You know, you just got to sort it out. The gas hot water works great. The windows, the blinds, got no problems with them. Oh, I had this one here wouldn't return. That's probably just it's just a maintenance issue. I pulled that cover off. There's a little plastic roller thing that sort of was getting tight. Apart from that, it seems to be okay. There's a couple of other little things underneath. Yeah, the toilet was a bit of a problem. The toilet, we had a massive water leak. I'll show you where it leaks from. Okay, what they do is this is a soft pipe, this one here, that goes into the hard pipe here. Now they've only just got one little clamp on there. So what happened that we were outside the van and I heard something below, and all of a sudden I see water coming all over the floor in the caravan, and they just got the one little clamp here, obviously not tight enough, and this pipe, because it's under pressure, just blew off, and the water was spurting out of here, going all through the bathroom, running down into the caravan. Luckily we just happened to be outside the van when that happened. So I turned the water off straight away, the pump. But you know, yeah, we were off grid at that stage. But imagine if you had your tap on and you're out for the day, it would have been great. So I would suggest turning the tap off when you're in caravan parks, and turn your pump off, because it's a pretty shoddy setup. I put 2 clamps on here now, and I do check and make sure these things are always tight, because that's a bit of a hassle. That was the other thing that went with it was the water pump, which sits in under the back of the van here. You might be able to see it, there it is there. That packed it in, probably about a second trip. Yeah, don't forget, all this stuff's it's not that old. Yeah, a lot of these things aren't very old. So that water pump, what happened first of all, it just stopped working, and so I got underneath there. The light's not too good. I got underneath it and hit it with a spanner, and bang, it started working. And it seemed to work okay then, until the next time it went away. I noticed that when I put the mains pressure on, the water started leaking out the side of the pump. So I rang up the dealer, and I had to put a new pump on it. So they set me a new pump. I set the old one back, and I whacked a brand new pump. This one's been the same pump, but it's been working okay, so I'm not sure what went on. There's obviously a fault in the seal in the pump. Apart from that, everything, just thinking if there's anything else really. Apart from that, it's been a good caravan. It doesn't weigh a lot. I think it's 1,800 kilo empty. It'll take two, 3. So it's about a 400 kilo payload. It's well under 3 tonne, and it's single wheel, so it's easy to reverse. That's basically why we bought it. That's why I wanted it easy to reverse. I can still go up a few bush tracks where the clearance is, and reverse quite easily around in them. So I hope this video has been help to some people. I have had a look around on YouTube and on the internet. It's as much about the Genesis 17.6. There isn't much. There's not much reports of anybody having any trouble with them. So I was wondering, sort of, am I the only one that's had all these issues? But probably not, I'd say. All right. So thanks for watching.